Hi, good morning there, or afternoon, or evening, or whatever time you're watching. I started building a buggy. I've been doing it for quite some time. Life got in the way and it stopped. And it was all fresh steel when I stopped. As you can tell now, it's not all fresh steel. I have two major problems with it when I stopped. This tube here should have been that side. I forgot to put a kink in here to fetch this bar across, and in my rush of trying to get it done, I welded them both on the wrong side. So I'm in the process of nipping all the welds up and swapping them over. So let's see how far I get. Well, as you can see, that's one side off, and because it's been sat, I never got a chance to weld it while it was nice clean metal. So once I've got them off, which again, I'm going to grind round there, grind these at either side, and all the way around there, and then we'll start swapping them over. But just in case some people are confused with what I'm doing, they're saying, well, if you swap them over, they're going to stick out the wrong way. I'm going to have to put a fish mouth coat in here and bend that across. And then when it comes to this side, I will just cut the excess off and it won't look too far out. And I just don't like the idea of it going to a point at that end, because if I end up with the buggy up in the air and I land nose first, with it pointing inwards, it's going to want to shove the roll cage inwards. Got a big problem with that. I'd rather it try and shove the roll cage out, and that way I'll be much more safer. So if anybody's kind of a lot of trouble just for that, yeah, it is, but I don't know that it's going to be me in it, one of the boys in it. To be quite frank, I ain't got a clue who's going to be in it, but I want it to be safe. So there we go. Well, as you can see, I've got them both off now. I was quite worried that the steel would be pitted. I've just put a flappy wheel over it, and it's come up really well. So I'm quite happy with that. The next thing I've got to do is mark the wedge that I've got to cut out of here. So bear with me a sec, and we'll see how we go. Right guys, I've been thinking, and plus it's been too wet to do out, so as you can see, the rust has already started reforming. And I mentioned earlier that I'd have to cut a fish mouth out. Now, a fish mouth is where you cut a triangle piece of metal out. So to cut a fish mouth out, I'd have to cut along the bottom line and across the top line, and then bend this over. Now, I know roughly, if the maths add up, because of the angle of this and because of the angle of the slope on the rail that's going basically from there to here and then to here, it would be, well, that's sloped over at 12.5 degrees, so I would have to double that, so that's what, 25 degrees I would have to chop out there. So as I bend it over, that is going to be too short, and going off the length there, it'll be about 3mm too short. And I can actually cope with it being a little bit longer but not shorter. So rather than do the fish mouth that way, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut in and put a straight line in and bend it over, and as I bend it over, it'll create a gap like that, and it's only one cut instead of two. So that'll go over. This, as daft as it sounds, would only be 1.5 mm higher than where I wanted it, because it'll be across here somewhere. And then the other thing is that I can actually cut it lower down and just do one single cut either side. But then I end it with a hole. But you'll see how I get around that shortly once I've cut this. So I'll cut this and I'll show you what I'm getting at. Right, I'll quickly show you where I'm at. At this end of the bar, it's cut so I can alter my angle. Helps if I show you what I'm getting at. And then, so if I push that up, you can see just how far I'm off. I've put a cut in there. So now what I'm going to do, so I can make that end meet up here. Now I've put the cut in this. Right, I've knocked that across. Don't tell me I've gone too far, because that'll be really, really annoying. Right, so as you can see, I'm closer. I need to pull that back a bit, and for the eagle-eyed ones out there, it's too short, but I have put a mark all the way around where I'm going to cut it, and I've marked that with a pipe cutter and then extend it and cut it to the right length, so that, looking from above, ain't so faffing far off now. So next thing I'm going to do, this bit here, I'm going to cut a piece of box. This bit here, I'm going to cut a piece of box section that shape, and so I can mark it, I'm going to put some masking tape over it. If I put masking tape over it and then trim it off, it'll give me the right size in theory, and then I can use the masking tape to mark my next bit. So there we go. Right, the next thing I've done, because everything has to match, I've found the angle of that, give or take a couple of degrees, and then I've repeated it on that side, yeah, and then I've measured from that edge to that edge, and from that edge to that edge, and this distance here is slightly shorter, which is what I want. So if it does go flying up in the air and lands on this edge, it will try and push the roll cage outwards either side instead of pushing it inwards and crushing me. So there we go. I've still got to cut my wedges, yeah, which is going to be a fiddly job, but it's all good. So catch you on the flip side. So yeah, now as you can see, I cut my template out. If it'll let me. Right. Oh, where have I dropped that now? Right, so in theory, you watch, it's not going to let me. Nope. Right. So I'll straighten that out. there, and that shows me what I've got to cut out. So yeah, thanks for watching and hope to see you all again soon. Have a good one.